Hi, welcome everybody once again to South Jersey Life. It's been a while. It's been a few weeks since we did this, but I am so glad to have my cousins from the ATL. I got Patrick in the house for the first time, making the first appearance. I got Heather in the house representing, and we got a few topics we wanted to talk about tonight. We're going to get into detail with. Um, if you're watching for the first time, please remember to subscribe. Hit that like button. You can share. We're trying to get those likes up, get in rotation. It helps the channel a lot. So, and plus, we have the podcast on Spotify. So South Jersey Life podcast on Spotify and Amazon Music. So and we'll be having it on Apple, uh, iTunes very soon. So look out for that. But right now, it is on Spotify, Amazon Music, and a few more streaming channels. So let's get into it. All right, guys. So the first topic tonight we're going to get into has been the mass shootings. We've had two mass shootings in the past few weeks. The first shooting happening in Nashville, where you have three people killed, three kids that were killed by a former student, female. And normally you have it by males, but this was a female that used to attend the school, um, killing, like I said, three innocent children, three innocent adults
Mm-hmm.
for no good rhyme or reason. A couple days ago, we had another mass shooting once again. Um, this was in Louisville, Kentucky. Okay. Former employee goes into the bank early in the morning. He knows the layout and kills five people, with more being injured, um, and pretty much had the nerve to video record exactly what he was doing. Um, we've been having this debate for years and years and years about what to do about these mass shootings. Do we get rid of the guns? Do we, you know, have more security at the schools? Do we need to have all the teachers strapped with guns? Um, there's a lot of suggestions, but whatever the result has been, nothing has worked because the same story keeps happening over and over again. And next time, this could be your child, your brother, your sister. So we're going to get into this conversation tonight, and see if we can try to have some solutions. Hopefully, the people that are in charge are listening
Hmm.
and are willing to enact and start doing something and stop talking with the lip service and start actually taking action with what they've been put in charge to do is write laws to help this situation out. So
Right.
Patrick, I'm gonna throw it out to you. And what is your opinion on what's been going on lately?
Well, it's extremely tragic, and it seems like it's happening more and more and more often. I mean, mass shootings this year higher than ever. The number of
Mhm.
occurrences that's happening,
Right.
and there are so many things leading into why they may be happening, but the solutions seem to be even more complicated than the why.
Mhm.
And mainly because you have the Second Amendment, and there's some people who I'm a Second Amendment pro gun, I right to bear arms, all that good stuff.
Uh-huh.
And then you have some people who want to say, yeah, maybe we should get rid of that.
Mhm.
That is very difficult to do because you want to change the Constitution. 2/3 majority of states have to agree. Their state legislatures have to agree to
Mhm.
to change an amendment. So you're just not going to get that with Texas, Georgia, Deep South. No,
Yeah.
they love their guns,
They
and
love
they
their guns.
yeah,
Yes. Yes.
that's
Yes.
that's not going to happen. So, but
Mhm.
I do think do you need an AR-15? You know, to go hunting? Do you,
You really don't. I mean, unless the deers are strapped too, and
right?
they're shooting back. I mean, that's
Yeah.
the only way I can kind of see how that would be justified.
Yeah. So I do think, maybe stricter laws in terms of, what type of guns people could own, that type of
Hmm.
thing. I do think would help at least with some of these shootings where I know a couple of years ago there was a guy in Vegas who had multiple guns. He had them stocked up with like bump stops, so the guns were just firing automatically by themselves as he
Uh,
was firing into a crowd,
mhm.
and a lot of people died.
Yeah, I think that was at a concert, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
if we can at least agree to say, okay, maybe we don't need these type of multi-fire, weapons, then maybe at least some lives can be saved by
Hmm.
not so many people being shot at a
Right.
single moment. So,
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I think
and
to add to that too, just
mhm,
to kind of get and I don't follow like all of the rules and regulations, so I don't know the exact policy, but
mhm,
what I hear more and more on the news and just on different news outlets is that it's too easy to purchase any type of gun.
yeah,
right.
So like some type of more security screening, national registries for, okay, this person just bought 10 guns from this
Mhm.
store, then they go to a different state and they want to buy 10 more, from somewhere else. Something that kind of tracks and um, gives us just more information about who's attempting to purchase guns, when, where, how many,
mhm,
Mhm.
things like that. I think that would really be helpful.
I mean, is to me is very sensible.
Mhm.
But that uh, idea that you just threw out, which is very sensible, very reasonable, it can't pass.
no,
I mean, just
yeah,
that you doing a little bit more background check is like is blasphemous to some gun owners, and I'm just trying to figure out why is it that you don't want guns to be in the hands of people that are mentally able to use these weapons of mass destruction, because that's what they turned into,
right,
weapons of mass destructions. And I want to know if the person that's holding the gun is actually sane, but
yeah,
but you can't do that. And me and my wife was having this conversation last night because she was asking me, well, do you think they should ban assault weapons? And my thing was they had it banned before,
hmm,
but back then there wasn't as many mass shootings and things like that. So now, even if they banned it, I don't know. But I was just telling her, I just don't think they're going to ban it again. I mean, that it did happen,
yeah,
but unless you have such a large representation in the Senate to be able
yeah,
to pass, I mean, with the House, you could get it through with one vote, but
mm,
for the Senate, you would have to have a major majority that's going to say, you know what? Because you have people like Manchin,
yep,
you have people like Sinema that try to play the middle, and
hmm,
they won't vote for stuff like that. So you're going to have a lot of people that's saying, you know what? I'm voting, and we're going to get this done.
yeah,
But you
and
got to have a large majority. Go ahead.
Senator Joe Manchin, he's in West Virginia, so
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
he
yeah,
needs those votes
yes,
for him
yes,
to stay in office, and he knows that. It's,
yeah,
it's the it's the politics.
yeah,
But this is what I don't understand about the NRA. And the NRA is so powerful. They give grades to senators and representatives. A, if
mhm.
you do anything that the NRA tells you. So most Republicans
Oh yeah,
have A's, A minuses. They
hmm,
don't want a B plus. That's horrible. That's a
right,
failure. You could better have at least an A minus. And most Democrats have D to Fs on the NRA's report cards, and we know why. But
hmm,
but I know it's the money that the NRA is able to back these candidates when they run. But I'm just thinking, what about a person like Jeff Bezos, Warren Buffett, that have just as much money to say we need you to do the right thing? Like,
right,
where's the guys, the major players saying, you know what, we're going to fund this because we need to change society in a positive way with these guns. So
yeah,
even if you're getting money from the NRA, we can supply you with more money.
right. Well, the problem is that's not really what they necessarily care about. So
Exactly. They
yeah,
don't have that passion for it. Yeah.
yeah, and if they're sort of in a world that they don't live in regular
Hmm.
society, so none of their kids are going to be at those schools, or so
Right.
it's not a passion for them, like you said. So it's not going to change it.
I'm
Right.
curious to know too, and maybe you guys know this, I don't know. Like, do supporters of NRA or um, members of, like, those type of organizations, do they give solutions like for these types of situations?
Well,
Like, what
for
are
the
their
most part, it's
solutions?
thoughts and prayers.
Yes,
Thoughts and
that's
prayers.
Yeah.
yeah. They, I
Yeah.
mean, it, the problem is they, even if an NRA member would say, okay, these solutions that are out there that they think may be reasonable, they dare not say that in public,
Hmm.
Right.
because
Right.
they don't want to be ostracized or ridiculed by, members of the NRA.
And it's all politics. And let's
Right.
just be honest, it's all politics. For the simple fact is, you have NRA members are saying, yeah, it's fine to do background checks,
Hmm.
but but here we go with politics. It's the slippery slope. Well, they say, well, if you got to do a background check here, well, you may get rid of the amendment or
Yeah.
Second Amendment.
Right.
Okay, the right to bear arms, and that is the problem. So if you touch one pebble, they're thinking you're going to move that boulder out the way.
Hmm.
That's why they don't want to touch anything and just leave it as status quo.
Right.
Yeah.
And and and
Yeah, go ahead.
the assault weapons ban, they were able to push that through in the 90s because, you had Bill Clinton in office, you had a super majority in
Yeah,
the House and in the Senate.
yeah.
So yeah, they pushed it through. But once that expired, now the country's pretty much 50-50.
Mhm.
It's just not going to
Okay,
work.
about this with the supermajority, right?
Yeah.
When Obama had a very large supermajority, he was able to
Hmm.
pass health care because
Yeah.
without him having those 60 senators, health care would have never went through, right?
Right.
Um, but when it comes to these guns, and like I said, you have members that are willing to try to say, we want people to be more responsible with these guns,
Hmm.
Hmm.
and gives us a bad name. We need these people to start talking out and saying more publicly. Like, I'm not talking about the candidates because we know the candidates are politicians. They will say whatever they have to say.
Right.
But we just need regular people, members that are part of the NRA, people that maybe have a little bit of a status. Needs to start talking out about this. Like, we need to start changing these laws. Oh yeah, and what I think I was trying to remember what I was saying, but I don't mind you having guns. I don't mind you really having uh, these type of weapons, but like you were saying, if you could slow it down from being an automatic,
Hmm.
if the rounds aren't as much, or you can slow down how fast the gun shoots out. I mean,
Right.
every little bit, makes a difference. It may save a life or two.
Right.
Um, but down south, you guys have you know, more of the hunting thing going on. Up north, we're way more strict with gun laws.
Hmm.
But the point was, when you have a concealed weapon, like, it's hard to had to have like a handgun and stuff like that because it's considered a concealed weapon.
Right.
So people were more afraid of that. So it made it harder to get when you can go get uh AR-15, because I'm going to carry out in public. Everybody's going to see me. So it must be just for hunting, because you're not trying to harm anybody, because it's so obvious you could harm somebody.
Right.
Hmm.
Right.
Hmm.
But that's backfiring, because these people that are doing these mass murders is saying, look at me, I'll even record myself. I'm here to cause massive damage to everyone involved in this scenario. And I just don't understand why, they just don't start saying, or having these laws the same way it's hard to go get a handgun, or the stuff that you got to go to get the handgun, the
Hmm.
same way you need to have it when you're trying to get an AR-15 or any other type of large rifle that you're trying to say, okay, I'm going to hunt with or do whatever with.
Right.
Same rules and regulations.
Yeah. And I think um, it it's tough because down here, I mean, like you said, we have hunting and stuff like that going on, but
Mhm.
there's a lot of pressure on politicians. I mean, just last year, Georgia passed a law saying it's constitutional carry. Now you don't have to get a license, you don't have to get anything. I can
Mm.
I can go to a gun show this weekend, buy a gun, have it in my hand, and I can carry it around concealed at any time, any place I want to. Pretty much that doesn't, say you can't carry. There's very few places that do that,
So
but
it's that easy, huh?
it's that easy. So I
Mhm.
can walk around, have it just constitutionally. Nobody needs to know. It's not registered with the government. None of that. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's getting a little bit out of hand, and I do think because with COVID and everything, mental health has been a huge issue. So the
Yes.
Right.
fact that people are willing to film themselves, stream themselves, and
Mhm.
have this out in the world, that maybe desensitized to violence. I don't know what those issues are. We really need to figure out how can we first of all get better mental health for people, just so maybe they decide not to do these things,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
then also too, I again, Second Amendment, you can agree with it, disagree with it,
Right.
but I think most sensible people would say we should have some rules and regulations, more rules and regulations around who can and cannot carry a weapon.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Yeah, because I believe that you should be able to bear arms, and I know back in the day, they feared that the government may try to take over, and you needed your weapons to resist the government's being tyrants, but or tyranny, I should say tyranny.
Here, yeah, but
Okay, but those times were then.
yeah,
These are times of now, but that's still, the government may come and we need something to rise up against the government
yeah,
or for our self-protection. And like I said, I have no problems with you having guns and stuff like that, but I want the guns to be in the hands of people that are responsible.
right,
Exactly.
So we could do that. The world, especially America, would be a better and safer place.
yeah,
So let's try to work on that. All right, so we're going to go to the second topic, and the second topic is just moving, having to do with this. Now, when you have people protesting and having rallies against, like, the NRA,
hmm,
Hmm.
um, all these weapons that's out and about, um, you got politicians that's saying, you know what, we need to make a change. But in Tennessee, this up on my phone. I want to get these gentlemen's names correct. Okay, so let me do look on here. Do. Okay, so we have Representatives Justin Jones,
hmm,
representing Nashville, Democrat, and Justin Pearson, Democrat of Memphis. Both were removed from the bodies of the Tennessee, you know, uh, legislative house,
hmm,
um, because they were protesting. Basically, they're saying we have a problem with what's going on, especially after the shooting out in Nashville.
right,
Um, you had three people that could have been expelled, okay, but just the two,
hmm,
Hmm.
which are Justin Jones and Justin Pearson, right?
yeah,
Okay. Now, Representative Gloria Johnson of Knoxville, okay, she missed by one vote for being expelled, okay?
hmm,
And they asked her, and let me read this. Following the failed vote, Johnson was asked by reporters if she thought there was a reason she had a different outcome. And she said, I'll answer your question. It might have to do with the color of our skin. Okay. Now, and let me state for the record, Gloria Johnson is a Caucasian lady.
hmm,
Okay. The two other representatives that were expelled were two black men. Now, later they were, brought back to the House, you know,
yeah,
and they were able to take back their seats, but they still going to have to run for reelection, in a special election. So I just find it funny that you can be you hear people being somewhat he could be a racist. He
Yeah.
could be
Mhm.
prejudiced. But these people, they don't care. This is what I am. You know what I am. But if you ask me, I'm gonna say no, I'm not. But you know.
Right.
Right.
So I'm just trying to figure out what's going on down in Tennessee. So what's your opinions about what was going on with this?
Well, okay, so the I think the one Republican, they asked him who didn't vote to expel
Hmm.
the the lady.
Yeah,
He said his reasoning was she didn't participate in the program in the protest as
yeah,
strongly
that's
as,
strongly.
yeah, as the other two,
Hmm.
which I don't know about that, but so first let me say this. I think I'm in meetings all the time, at city meetings, government meetings, and decorum is important. So
Hmm.
were they wrong for doing what they did? I think so, in my opinion, just because you have to have decorum to be able to move government progress. But
Right,
it was a minor violation of the rules. I mean,
right.
they have rules for decorum.
Hmm.
It's fine.
Right.
Does it lead to expulsion from us? I mean, these you were elected by your community. You're
Right.
representing your community,
Hmm.
and now these other people who were who were elected by their community are saying these people are expelled because they violated a rule of decorum.
Hmm.
Basically, just a you're out of order type of
Hmm.
thing.
Right.
That is unbelievable. I mean, I don't think that's probably ever happened. I don't know if that's ever happened for something like this.
Yeah.
And the fact that they would even be bold enough to take such a step to expel these these gentlemen
Hmm.
is just, I mean, it's almost unthinkable. But that's the America that we're living in now.
I, I just don't understand. I mean, don't Republicans want people of color to vote for them? I
Um,
mean, I don't I'm no and let me just say this.
what?
I'm not here to bash on Republicans
Yeah,
because I do like some stuff that Republicans come up with.
yeah.
And as I said in the prior episode, back in the day, I was on my Republican stuff with Rush Limbaugh and whatnot. You
Same
know,
here.
you know
I
what I'm
was, yeah,
saying? Yeah. So I mean, some of the stuff that Republicans do, I do agree with, but in the manner of how they approach it, I don't like how they try to execute stuff.
right, right.
But the thing with this is just it's like,
Yeah,
come on, what are we talking about?
yeah.
You know, I can, like I say, if you wanted, like, if you're in the actual House of Representatives for the United States or whatever,
Mhm.
you what they did, they'll censor you.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, I mean, you little slap on the wrist, boom, 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 don't
yeah.
do that again, da 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 da.
Maybe we take you off this committee and put
We
you on
may
another
take you off of one of the committees and
Yeah,
stuff like that, but
yeah.
we're not kicking you totally out of what you was elected to when you
Yeah.
have people, like I said, in the actual US Senate that's lied, like my man up in New York that
Yes.
lied about everything. His whole life
Mhm.
is a lie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he ran on everything he lived, he ran on everything that he did. Like,
Yes.
what are we talking about? And they won't touch him
Yeah.
because
You've
they
had
need that vote. It's so slender, that vote, that margin. We need him. We're not going to get rid of him.
yeah.
So I just have to say for the people, the GOP down in Tennessee, it's like, what are you thinking? What,
Right.
what, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
It,
And
it just, I don't get it.
you've had congressmen, state assembly people, senators, they've gotten away with rape, uh,
Hmm.
DUIs, I mean, horrible crimes, and still kept their jobs, right?
Hmm.
And these guys, these brothers, get
Hmm.
down on the floor with a bullhorn and disrupt proceedings for 5-10 minutes.
Right.
I mean, what what are we talking about? The levels here are just something's not adding up. It's not equal. And
Yeah.
but I do think like I said, like you said before, like Republicans a lot has shifted over the past couple of years, especially it started in, I would say, 2016 maybe.
Mhm.
Much more bolder action, much more, aggressive action
It's
in the
cool to
way
be
that they're
it's
doing
cool to
things.
be abrasive,
Yeah,
and Mr. Trump, I'm
yeah,
gonna say his name,
yeah,
Mr. Trump. Has he made it cool to be like that?
yeah. And
You know.
I miss the old days when you'd have senators who may not necessarily agree, but they could still be cordial and be friends, and
Mhm.
they usually wanted some of the same things. They just may have a different way of getting there. But
Right.
nowadays, with the division just seems to be extreme.
And I think with everything that we're talking about now, what it does is it brings it back into the importance of voting, and not
Hmm.
just like in the major elections, but in your very local
Right.
community and state, proceedings.
Mhm.
I don't know what the answer is, though, to get people more involved and more interested, and to really realize how much impact your vote can carry, for your
Oh yeah.
day to day life, and for legislation for your community.
Mhm.
I just don't know what the answer is. You have these big campaigns sometimes, but it's like the interest or the understanding, even a lot of times, is just it just doesn't seem to be there.
Mm.
But that's what this leads back to, because as you guys are going back and forth and talking about this situation, it's like, okay, now what's going to happen to these people who voted, who made those decisions
Yeah.
to vote these brothers out?
Mhm.
What's going to happen to them in the next election?
Right. And what always seems to happen is it always backfires on them because they rally people to come out and vote even more.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why they don't understand that. Like, okay, you're kicking black guys out for just stating how they feel about a subject, and you're no, we're going to vote in droves now
Right.
to
Right.
try to take over the house, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
this doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't understand that. Like, they don't get that. I mean,
No.
history keeps repeating itself.
Yeah.
Sure
It
does.
does.
It sure does.
Yeah. They're playing checkers.
Yeah, you need to play chess. You need to
Yes.
play
Yeah.
chess.
Yeah. But
Yeah. So
I just think that again, these guys, they didn't deserve what happened to them, and I think
right.
most of the world would agree. Even probably a lot of the Republicans who voted to expel them, a
Mhm.
lot of them would probably say, yeah, if you took them in the back room and just had a conversation with them and nobody knew, they probably say,
Yeah.
yeah, they probably don't deserve to be expelled.
Yeah.
But they still had to. They probably felt they had to vote a certain way.
Yeah.
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 So,
And I don't know if you guys had a chance to watch, because I was looking at clips from Tucker Carlson on Fox News, and Tucker was showing pictures of Mr. Pearson when he was, I guess you consider clean cut, dressing appropriately with a shirt tie when he was still in college.
mm,
And basically he was saying that how proper he spoke, and he sounds so well educated, and he sounds like not a threat to us,
yeah. He speaks
Caucasian
so well.
community. Yeah,
Yeah,
he
he's so
speaks
well
so
spoken.
well, and then they showed a picture. They showed him in the house. What happened? What happened to him?
Mm.
He started sounding like Martin Luther King or something like that. I'm listening to Tucker Carlson, basically, like I said, outward racism. You know,
Yes.
because first of all, you're trying to say, well, he's too white on how he's talking.
Hmm.
He's too basically getting into the midst of your community and could corrupt them,
Right.
because he's so well spoken and clean cut, you know. But then when he's, I guess, start acting more black, it's a problem with that, because now he's too abrasive.
Yeah.
Right.
He's trying to change the world that doesn't need to be changed. It's okay the way it is.
But
So
even to
no,
associate
either way, it's
abrasive
just a
with black,
Yeah.
huh.
I said, even to associate abrasive with black, that's a whole problem in and
Man,
of itself.
Tucker be man, he be yo,
Yeah.
he just letting it fly.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, man, it's a lot of guys in white masks be like, man, we love some Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
He
Mhm.
shouldn't. He'll never go off the air with our support. You know what I'm saying? So I just don't get it. It's just so blatant, the racism that is going on,
But you know, the
and
thing
they
about
really
it,
don't care.
like when you talk about a Tucker Carlson,
Hmm.
um, we've seen, and I don't know if you've been paying attention to this Fox News trial with the Dominion voting machines,
Yeah, I think they're being sued for $1.6 billion.
yeah. So, but when you some of the secret documents and text messages and stuff that came out of that
Yeah,
show that some of those Fox News hosts, they don't necessarily believe all the stuff that they put on the air,
yeah.
but they know their viewers want to see it.
It it it
Y-
it drives the viewership up.
yes.
Mhm.
They want them to be angry at the other side,
Hmm.
and they don't have to listen. Listen, Tucker Carlson is very smart, and he knows exactly what he's doing. He's
Yes.
very manipulative in what he
Oh, yeah.
does. Okay, Sean Hannity, I wouldn't say he's as smart, but he knows what he's doing.
Yes.
Okay, Hannity's been at this game for a long time. He knows
Oh,
what he's doing.
yeah.
Okay, um, what's the one that comes on after Hannity? Laura Ingram.
Oh,
Laura
Lord.
Ingram.
Oh gosh. The
Okay,
shut up,
Laura
shut up
Ingram.
and dribble.
She
Yeah.
knows. Listen, she knows Trump's an idiot. He
Yes.
ain't gonna say it on air,
Yeah.
but she knows. Oh, this guy. Oh my goodness, he's messing up the party. How come DeSantis? Oh, you can't just hurry up and come in and just save us all? They all thinking that. Please,
Oh God.
DeSantis, come on and save us all. But we do love you, Trump. We
Yeah.
love you. You're our
Yeah.
guy
Yes.
until you get arrested and actually put away, so you can get the hell out the way and let
Right.
DeSantis do what he's supposed to do. They're going to keep to Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they all but they play that game. And I will watch, and I did watch Tucker like during election stuff like that.
Hmm.
Tucker does not like Trump whatsoever. So
No.
when that stuff did come out and was leaked about how he really felt about Trump,
Hmm.
you can see it.
Oh yeah.
You can see it, but he just can't say it verbally. But you can
Oh,
see it, like, oh, this guy Trump.
yeah.
You know. But they got to do what they got to do to keep the viewership, and they always win
Right.
because the whole Republican base watches them,
Oh
and
yeah.
it's ratings, and that keeps their salary up. So they got to placate.
They got to. Yeah. They got to play to the audience
Hmm.
and give them what they want basically, because otherwise, they'll turn and go to another network. So
Yeah, pretty much.
yeah.
All right, so let's go to what's been plaguing the whole United States. Everybody's been feeling it. It's
Yeah.
the big word, inflation.
Oh.
Okay, and when it comes to inflation, right? We was, me and my wife, we was watching the Jeffersons
Mm.
uh, a few months ago, and there's an episode, and this was probably shot in like 82, 83.
Yeah.
But this episode where inflation is coming and everybody's scared, and they're like in the kingdom,
Hmm.
Mhm.
and inflation is just coming, and everybody's just running scared. Inflation is coming. Inflation is coming. And now the fact that in 2023, inflation is here and it's been here for the last couple of years.
Mhm.
What are we going to do about it? What is, and Joe Biden, let me say, that's my guy. He be
Mm.
screwing up a lot. I know he got issues.
Uncle
Okay.
Joe.
But if no one else is going to support him, I raise my hand. I will.
Yeah.
Okay. That's my guy because he ain't got that much support right now.
Yeah.
But the government has to get together and get inflation under control but I did see that inflation did go down to 5%, which is the lowest it's been in 2 years. But you're not going to feel it right now.
No. No.
But the rates, the Fed chair, Jerome Powell, and let me just say for the audience, right? When there is inflation, what the Fed chair tries to do is to raise interest rates. And the reason why he tries to raise interest rates is to keep people from spending as much to try to bring the inflation down.
Hmm.
So he makes it harder for you to get a loan. He raises your credit cards, interest rates, and stuff like that. So you can bring the spending down, the inflation can go down, and then we can start lowering interest rates again. And that's pretty much, the game that the Federal Reserve plays with the government to try to get everything
Yeah.
in order. But for right now, people are hurting. Me and my wife, we're always strategizing. What are we going to get this week? What are we going to
Hmm.
get that week? Because before we used to get everything, and now
Yeah.
it's like no, 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 no. We
No.
must
Yeah.
plan and strategize.
Right.
Right.
So, you guys, what's your opinion on inflation right now?
It's well.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, is it's so complicated. Back in you talk about the Jeffersons episode back in the '80s, early '80s.
Mm-hmm.
Inflation was a little bit different then. I mean, it was just it was more simple. They came out and boom, raised interest rates hugely, and
Mm-hmm.
they got it under control somewhat quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But this time around, there were so many causes to inflation,
Yeah.
and fixing it just doesn't seem as easy as just raising interest rates, because the
Mm-hmm.
Fed can only do one thing to combat this, is raise interest rates.
Right.
But interest rates were held artificially low for a decade.
Yeah.
You,
Yeah.
you giving out a 30-year mortgage with a 2% interest rate. That's
So let me
that's
just say, thank you, government, for my new house. Thank you.
yeah, I know, that's great.
Appreciate that 2-something%. Yeah,
Yeah,
like that.
it's great. It's great. But
Uh-huh.
that's a short-lived thing. I mean, you can't, do that. And then when you start going on the other end and start raising the interest rates, then banks that have overextended themselves, Silicon
Right.
Valley, things like that, they're going to go under. But I think with this one, it's going to take us longer to get out of this, because you have first it was supply chain issues. You had now, uh, because of inflation, people are needing to make more money. There are more jobs than there are people to fill these jobs.
Mhm.
So employers are having to pay more and more and more and more. And if you pay people more, they can spend more.
Correct. Yeah.
So it starts to become like a hyperinflation type of
Mhm.
thing. So um, this one is really, really complicated, and I don't know that we'll get down to, because I think the Fair Chair, they want like 2%
Mhm.
inflation per year.
Right.
I don't know that we'll get there. Um, it may be another year before we get there. Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it may be. Yeah. I think it'll be at least a couple years until we get
Yeah.
down, because if we're at 5% right now, I know it was at 7% last year. So
Hmm.
I'm
Well,
thinking, yeah.
and I know here in the Metro Atlanta area, because we
Mhm.
look at that number quite a bit, but
Mhm.
it was at one point year over year, it was like 11.8% here in
Okay.
Atlanta. Yeah.
Okay. In Atlanta. Yeah.
So that was, I mean, and we see it. I mean, when we go to the store, grocery
Mhm.
store,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
it's pretty bad.
Yeah, and that's the problem too, because even if the inflation rate goes down, these companies are still going to have, it's going to be slower until they start lowering the prices of their goods
Hmm.
and things like that. And also what hurts things too is because, like, I'm looking at gas prices 2 weeks ago. I'm
Oh,
looking at regular was 2.95, right? It was 2.95. Today it's at 3.33. Okay. So that's a 38-cent jump in 2 weeks. It's like,
yeah,
so fuel prices start going back up. So it's always something. And then when you think you fix the supply chain, there's something else happens.
yeah,
Or we have, water being polluted by trains going off the tracks and stuff. It
yeah.
seems like
Chip
it's just
shortage.
always something that's affecting everybody. Even though it may happen in your community,
Hmm.
it's affecting everybody.
And one thing about this economy that we're in, this global, because I mean, really, it's a global economy. It's gotten so tight knit
Mhm.
that if one domino falls, it affects everything else. So, like, we had the avian flu, the bird flu thing that
Mhm.
happened. You know, lost a lot of chicken, poultry crops, egg prices shot up,
Mhm.
chicken, prices shot up very high. There was a lower supply of that stuff. And I mean, people are not going to stop eating protein. So
Mhm.
maybe they move to beef, or maybe they move to fish or whatever.
Yeah.
And if the demand goes up for those, and, you know, uh, farmers didn't plan for that,
Mhm.
well, the cost of those goods go up. So it's just a domino effect, and it affects everything. It affects everybody. Everything's so tightly knit that
Mhm.
if you have one failure in the system, it just blows up the whole thing.
Well, let me ask this question,
Hmm.
because what people don't seem to realize that during politics season when we was having elections and things like that. We was getting a lot of stimulus money. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a lot of people think stimulus money the money just comes out the air and it lands in our bank account. Why shouldn't the government should just give us more stimulus? And
Yeah.
listen, I'm okay with receiving stimulus. Okay. I have no problems with that, but
Yeah.
there are ramifications.
There are.
There are ramifications.
Yeah.
And let me just say this, and I'll throw it at you guys. If there was no, would you take 2% inflation right now, or would you take all the stimulus money that you may have collected over the past, let's say, 3 years?
Oh,
I know what I would do. I want the
yeah,
2%
that's what I
inflation.
was thinking too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
But oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I know for some people though. So Heather and I, we both professionals. We do okay. We both work, and
Hmm.
we're doing okay. I know for some people though, that stimulus money may have been a lifeline for them to be able to keep their
Right.
house, to be able to feed their kids, and
Hmm.
and I get it, but that money, it's being printed. You put more money out into the system. I know the
Hmm.
government calls it quantitative easing.
Yeah.
I mean, you're printing money.
But
That's
but
really
they
what you're doing.
say, like Mr. Summers, the former advisor to Obama, basically saying you're
Hmm.
going to overheat the system with all
Right.
this money
Right.
being put out.
Yeah.
And like you said, people do need the money.
Hmm.
Okay. But there are the downfall to taking the money, because I now know, like, a lot of people, if you ask them what did they do with their stimulus, I don't know.
Yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
have no clue.
Yeah.
Did we get stimulus? They don't even remember. You know,
Yeah.
um,
But you go on their Instagram, you
oh
see
yeah, they was
they're in the
balling out of
ER.
control.
And yeah.
They was
Yeah.
balling
Yeah.
out of control with that money. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But now it's like inflation. We can't do this. We can't do that.
Hmm.
So this is maybe just a period in time where you just have to say, the next time something happens like that, where the government's starting to do this and do that with the stimulus, it's okay. Let's just hold
Yeah.
out. We're
Yeah.
good. Okay. The
Yeah.
people that really need it, yes. But everybody getting PPE loans and stuff like that. Now we don't need to be doing all of this stuff.
No.
So
Right.
No. I mean,
hopefully people are more conscious with their financials.
yeah. I think sometimes you have to have a little bit of short term pain, and I know that it's easy to say
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
but
yeah.
sometimes you need a little short term pain to not have that long term pain that we're sort of facing right
Hmm.
now, because there's a lot of people falling in the gap that can't be filled because of inflation and because of high prices, and people on fixed incomes, and especially older people who've been retired, and
Hmm.
their income is what it is. So that's very difficult, man. A lot of those people are hurting very seriously, and will be for a long time.
Right. So I mean, I just hopefully the guys in charge can put their heads together and get this inflation down. Um, because right now, eggs. I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like $20 for 60 eggs. $20. It's like, come on,
jeez.
man. You don't want to eat eggs no more.
Yeah, I know.
You
It's like,
know.
what else can you
Yeah,
eat?
it's like you cutting back on a lot of stuff that I normally get. Crab legs. That's you don't mess with them crab legs anymore. You know what I mean?
So I can't eat crab legs. Heather doesn't
Hey,
like
y'all are
eggs,
good.
so
Y'all keep saving money doing that.
we good.
Yeah, we about to get on tuna. Forget the crab legs. Let's get some cans of tuna. More affordable. So yeah, the government. Let's get your act together and get this inflation down. And so we can start. You know, having the ability to spend our money. In other places instead of spending like $300 at the supermarket or whatever. Right.
Right.
So let's go to the last topic, and this will be uh, about the Dalai Lama. Now, I don't know much about the Dalai Lama. I've been hearing about the Dalai Lama for, I don't even know if it's just the OG Dalai Lama, or this is like the fifth, sixth, or 15th Dalai Lama. I don't know. So everybody, forgive me for my ignorance because I really don't know. I should have Googled it, but I didn't. But the Dalai Lama a few days ago was a little boy was asking basically the Dalai Lama for a hug. Okay. And the Dalai Lama says, basically give me a kiss. So he proceeded to kiss the boy and said to the boy, can you suck my tongue? And I'm saying, what? The Dalai Lama? The Dalai Lama said to the little boy, little child, suck my tongue. Now, let me just say this, people. I'm not here to really get into the Dalai Lama. I don't know, what exactly is going on. But the bigger issue to me is, who are your children with?
Mm-hmm.
Do you really trust who your children are with? And these men and women that may be in power that you feel so safe with around your child, should you feel this safe? I don't care if it's a man of the cloth. I don't care if it's the president. I don't trust people being around my child or my family or whatever the case may be, or your child being around them or whatever. We need to basically keep a check on everybody, you know.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. And
Yeah.
to your point,
Mhm.
when you started off the conversation, I think it doesn't matter which Dalai Lama it is. It doesn't matter, how long they've been in office. It's wrong.
Yeah,
And it's sick,
it
really.
really is. Yeah.
Um, I don't understand, and I don't know what's going to happen with him or his position or how that looks, but like, there's no apology, in my opinion, for that type of behavior. You know
He
what I
was
mean?
joking. That's what they said. That's what his people say. He was
Mm-mm.
joking. That's how he jokes.
And then he should have come up with a better response than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what kind of joke that is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know. That one really like just hit a nerve, because just like you're saying, you have this person who is supposed to be of like some of the greatest faith,
Mhm.
Revered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you can't trust your child. And this is an open
Yeah.
public setting.
Yeah.
So it's not like he
Yeah.
even took him in a back room somewhere, God
Just
forbid,
imagine what would be going on in the back rooms.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, this was tough.
Yeah. It's what's the saying? Absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yes.
I think these people get in these positions, and no matter who it is, and I have respect for positions, the Pope and President, whatever.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, these are still people, still human beings that are flawed, and have their vices and things like that, and sometimes don't make good decisions. But usually, these people, because they're in the position they're in, and everybody's sort of jockeying for position or wanting to hold them up in such esteem,
Mhm.
they get to a point where they can do whatever they want,
Mhm.
and no one ever checks them, pulls them to the side, and say, "Hey, man, you probably shouldn't do that anymore."
Right.
Right.
And so, I don't know. It's almost like you would want to, especially with your children, you trust these people least because they are pretty much, the rules don't apply to them in a sense.
Yeah. They feel like basically they're above the law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And anything that they do is like, oh, we can't do nothing to. I mean, because it must be correct. They're like a
Right.
man of,
Right.
they're men of God.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's how you have all these documentaries that we see on Netflix or some of these other channels where, these people running these churches have, bought a compound, and they're marrying 14-year-old girls, and,
Mhm.
they have a harem of women and a
Mhm.
bunch of kids and stuff like that. And it's just like, how are people following and trusting their children with these people? I mean, I can't imagine being a father of a young girl and,
Mhm.
hey, this guy, here's my 12-year-old, you can go ahead and marry her.
Mhm.
No,
Right.
it's insane.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah. What happens mentally to someone to accept that, or to follow that
Mhm.
type of behavior or accept it? I don't know.
Mhm.
No.
Yeah. I mean, because it's just the fact is, because I was watching, because I heard the story before, but then I was hearing, Charlemagne on the Breakfast Club talk about it. He was basically saying how he was molested as a child and how that, affected him and a lot of other people that's been molested. How something is said, like the Dalai Lama is said it so innocently,
Yeah.
but
Mhm.
that at least but it goes up gradually until it turns into
Mhm.
something where they're doing something inappropriate. You know,
Yeah. That
Yeah.
they're
grooming
grooming
behavior.
exactly that
Yeah.
grooming behavior
Yeah.
that they're doing, and the fact is, you still have people defending his actions. See, this is my problem.
Yeah.
You need to say no, you're wrong.
Right.
Now you can apologize for what you did,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but let it be clear, you're
Yeah.
wrong. What
There's-
your actions was wrong.
yeah. It's
Right.
But for them to
indefensible.
say that he's joking around and he's, this is just how he plays around. No, you don't play like that.
No.
Right.
No.
And in that position, you know that.
Yeah. Or at least you
Yeah,
should.
You should.
you
Yeah.
should know that.
Yeah.
But in older age, stuff is slipping out that maybe he wouldn't have let out, but when he was younger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's actually saying how he actually feels.
Right. Where he
You
could have
know.
gotten away with it. I will
Mhm.
say, a lot of people don't like, there's cameras everywhere now, right? You walk
Mhm.
down the street, you're being filmed, there's doorbell camera. I think it's a great thing because there's a lot of stuff now that's being exposed because
Mhm.
we have it on video or we're seeing it
Yeah.
that back in the day just would have gone
Mhm.
unnoticed,
Mhm.
and the amount of harm that was done back in the day. Because I mean, human history, we've been awful to each other, right? We
Yeah.
put people in, public arenas and pits and make them fight lions and stuff like that. I mean, we
Mhm.
humans have been awful to each other. But
Mhm.
the fact now that society, to me, is evolving, yes, we still have our problems,
Mhm.
but now there's a lot more exposure and there's a lot more stuff that society is saying, hey, we're not going to put up with this from
Mhm.
anybody. So I think it's a good thing.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, hopefully that this, gets corrected. His behavior, you know, from this day forward is
Yeah.
Mhm.
better.
Maybe time for him to step down. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
Let another one step up. I don't know how that works. Again, I apologize for my ignorance on how that
yeah,
succession.
yeah. I mean, if I was in Tibet, I would be down with the laws. I would know everything if I was
Yeah,
in Tibet.
yeah,
But
Right.
I'm not Tibetan, so forgive me, guys. But
yeah.
if you're in Tibet and you know what's going on, hey, y'all need to say something, okay? But yeah, it's just let's do better, and that goes with everything. Yeah, as a society, let's just do better.
Yes.
Yeah.
When you see wrong, point it out. Let it be known that it's wrong. You know, because we all can do better as humans. Myself, you guys, everybody can do better.
Absolutely.
Oh,
But let's not turn a blind eye to everything that's going on, and just
right.
say we all need to do better as a
Yeah.
society. Yeah.
Yep.
So listen, guys, you have any last words you want to
Well,
say to the crowd?
this is so you guys have the cred, especially on this platform because it's South Jersey Life, right?
Yes,
And
it is.
you both are,
She
South
got a
Jersey.
little, yeah, she got Atlantic City blood in her.
Yeah,
Don't be
yeah,
fooled, Atlanta.
yeah.
Don't be fooled. Okay.
But I have visited. I
You
have
yeah.
been there.
Welcome.
I've driven on Black Horse Pike.
My man.
I've
My
been to
man.
Acme grocery store. So
That's straight South
yeah,
Jersey life right there.
yeah. I've gotten coffee from Wawa. So I'm,
Okay.
yeah,
Like
I'm
I
in there.
said, you just been endeared by the
Yeah.
whole South Jersey community. Okay. Even people in Philly, they like, yeah, we know about that. We
Yeah.
love our Wawa. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so I do appreciate it. Like you and Levon, y'all come on, you know, from representing Georgia, and I do appreciate it because listen, I got Georgia blood running through me. So
Oh
you know
yeah,
what I'm saying? So it's just
absolutely.
a perfect connection. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? So I do appreciate you guys coming on here.
We
You
appreciate you
know,
having us.
Absolutely.
yeah, and we got to do it again. And for the audience out here, please hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, share, leave comments. We greatly appreciate. We're trying to grow. We're trying to get bigger. We're trying to do everything. We want to talk about all types of subjects. So if you guys want to leave in the comment what you want us to talk about, yeah, we're open. Um, South Jersey Life, Gmail That's where you can contact us if you have anything that you want to promote, or like I said, leave comments or talk to us about, South Jersey Gmail. And like I said, I appreciate you guys coming on tonight. Thank you.
Yeah,
And we
absolutely.
will be doing this again very, very soon. So audience, please look out. We got more stuff coming for you guys, okay? All right, guys, we are out. It's been great. We will talk to y'all later, and we'll talk to you next time. Peace.
Peace.